with you. Okay, so let's start from Chavav Amid Aleph. We'll start from Chavav Amid Aleph, the last line, the Gemara we did last night. Again, and as much as it is Chazara, let's try to do it well. We'll just do it a little bit faster. Faster doesn't mean it's not well. It just means you're moving quicker. Says the Gemara, Tani Nami Hachi. We are bringing a raya. What are we bringing a raya to? Bring a raya that Shinas Arai is the amount of time to walk 100 amo. He says the Gemara, Hayashin b'tefillin, someone who's sleeping in his tefillin, v'raya carry, and he sees carry. What does he do? Oiches b'ritzua, he should grab hold of the ritzua, the straps of the tefillin, but he shall not. V'ino oiches, he should not grab ksitza, the tefillin themselves. Why? Because the batim, the box, has the shin, the shem Hashem has kedusha. Divrei Rebbe Yaakov. That's almost a parenthetical sidebar din. But now the Ikaraya says the Chachamim Ma'imrim, 2 lines down, Chavav and Beis Yashad Mitzvillin. What smells good? Shina Sarai. What are we drinking there? Ooh, I just finished one. That'd be a little extreme. No one ever said nisht. Yashad Mitzvillin Shina Sarai. A person should sleep. Not should. A person can sleep. A Shina Sarai. Avaloy Shinas Keva. The Kama Shina Sarai. Here it is. Kedehilach Me'am 100 amos. Amaraf. 4 lines down. Also, Adam Yisham B'Yayim. Yoisim Mishinas, so you're not allowed to sleep. Stam, nothing to do with your tefillin. You're not allowed to sleep more than the sleep of a horse. You come Mishinas Asos, Shitanishman, Amar Abaye, Shinasai Damar, who was Abaye's Rabbi Nachmani Kidarav, Udarav Kidarabi, the Rabbi Kidarav, David, Kid Socio, the Socio Shitin Nishmin is 60 breaths. Interestingly enough, David HaMelech always slept this amount, not only by day. We're bringing a raya. This is the amount you're allowed to only sleep by day. But David HaMelech never slept more.
I thought it was saying that they understood that how long.
They did. But David himself happens to only have slept this even at night, not only by day. We're bringing a raya. This is the amount that you're allowed to sleep by day. David HaMelech personally slept. They say I think it was the Vilna Gaon, right? The only guy also slept 30 minutes in, not to belittle the guy, but Da Vinci did the same thing. There's a whole fascinating thing. It's called the Da Vinci sleep method. Anyone who's bored, feel free to read up on it. It's fascinating. Abayim was sleeping in a Babadisa Beikuvi. The amount of time it took to go from Babadisa to Beikuvi. Karli Rav Yosef called him, and Moshe Atal Tishkav till when will the lazy one lie down? Moshe took him Shadasecha. When are you going to get up from your sleep? Tanu Rabbanon. Hanichnas Nishan Beyoyim. You're coming to take a nap by day. If you want, you can take off your tefillin. If you want, you can leave them on. Balayla, you have to take off your tefillin. On Divrei Rabbi Nelson. Says Rabbi Nelson. Comes along Rabbi Yossi, the young lads, have to always take off their tefillin even by day. Why? So the words regilim b'tama, we think it means right now that they're accustomed, they often have this, they see carry. So says the Gemara, do we have a raya lemukas of Rabbi Yossi, the Rabbi Yossi, who's nimuka yimai, Rabbi Yossi, who we paskin like? So do we have a raya that Rabbi Yossi also bal carry asla niyach tefillin? Amar Abaye, no. The case is biladim. And therefore, Shami Yodei Herkel Davar, they might come to sleep together, and that is not allowed with their tefillin. Rabbanan Shachach. Let's say one did forget Shami does with tefillin. Eino Yoiches do not hold over neither the straps nor the box itself. Ad She'itel Yad until you wash your hands. Yitzaleim. And then you can take off your tefillin. Your hands always move around when you sleep. You never know where you might touch, which is parenthetically one of the reasons why in the morning when we wake up, we wash nitilas yadayim. One reason is because you're a ber yachadash, you got your neshama back, you were reborn. The other reason is because while you slept, your hands might have touched places. What would be the nafkamina? Nafkamina would be if you slept wearing gloves. And therefore you know that you didn't touch anywhere, but you still are a ber yachadash, that you woke up in the morning. Says the Hilgim Mishnah. What? Or if you didn't sleep, but there's a night. Very good. Says the Mishnah. Maisa, a fascinating Mishnah that starts with this story. They brought to Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai to taste esatavshel, the food. Ula Rav Gamliel. And to Rav Gamliel, what do they bring? Shnei koisavos, 2 dates, udeli shel mayim, and a pitcher of water. Literally a pail. A deli is a pail. He wasn't drinking out of a pail, but listen, when you don't have a pitcher, you bring a pail. Koisvos are dates, yes. Koisvos are dates. So 2 dates and a pail of water. Va'amru, and they said, Helum l'sukkah. Let's bring them up to the sukkah. It was sukkahs. and we can't eat outside of the sukkah. So as everyone now realizes, this is a continuation of the previous Mishnah, of the sugya of achilas arai outside of the sukkah. If you remember, we had a slight, small Gemara. How much is achilas arai? We had one opinion that the Gemara said was two eggs. Thank you, Raya, that I need to chazer. And the Gemara said back, no, it doesn't mean that. Rather, it means what? Like the Talmud takes on the way to the share. Very good. And the kasha was, right, 2 or 3. 2 or 3. By the way, you know what? Why did no one ask the kasha? 2 or 3, which one is it? 2 or 3. If it's 3, it's not 2. If it's 2, it's not 3. What's 2 or 3?
2 or 3 eggs.
Depending on the person.
Maybe they don't really know the amount.
No, you're all getting good answers. I'm just saying it is a funny thing. What's 2 or 3? If you ask me, Rabbi, how much do I have to drink for Havdalah? Either 1 or 2 cups of wine. 1 or 2. It's a funny way of answering a question. So when the Gemara said, how much did I eat inside of like 2 or 3 eggs? That's why we just didn't point out that it is quite interesting. Okay, back to our show. So says the Gemara, they told him, let's bring up the dates and the water to the sukkah. They gave the same dish to Rav Sadaik. Oichel, what did he do? Pachis mikebeya. Excuse me. Rav Sadaik oichel pachis mikebeya. And when they brought to Rav Sadaik oichel is food, not they brought in the same thing. They brought to Rav Sadaik food which was less than pachis, less than mikebeya, less than a beya. If you look at Rashi apparently warned people not to read it like a turkey like I just did. Rashi says the way you read this line is Michael Pachs Mikabeya, that they brought a food that is less than a kabeya. What did Rav Sadik do? 3 fascinating things. Number 1, pulled out his trusty handkerchief, not loy b'mapa. He takes the food, let's call it a piece of bread, less than a beya, 1 slice of bread, a thin one. He puts it in a mapa, a handkerchief. Va'achloi, and he eats it where? Chutz l'sukkah, outside of the sukkah. And v'loi beirach acharav, he doesn't make a bracha achroina afterwards. So over here, we have a loaded Rashi. Let's learn the Heilige Rebbe Rashi, who reminds us of dinim that we learned in the Gemara Brachis. Says Rashi, and if you didn't learn in the Gemara Brachos, you'll learn it now in Rashi. Says Rashi, and will also dispel one of the more common myths in a moment. No loy bimap. Let's have fun. Why did he hold the bread in a handkerchief? Because he didn't want to wash his hands, and we all know if anytime you don't want to wash your hands, what do? You take it, in a handkerchief, and you don't have to wash your hands. So that's absolutely, very good. That's the other myth. So that's absolutely false. You're never allowed, if I am sitting here and someone gives me a roll, I'm not allowed to say, okay, put the roll in the tissue, boom, I don't wash my hands. That is absolutely forbidden. So everyone's saying, come on. It can't be that big of a myth. So the answer is, if there's no water. Now, what does no water mean in our world is going to be difficult, because even when you're traveling, there's water. Just pull over to the side of the road, and within 72 minutes in front of you or 18 minutes behind you, there's going to be water. Usually, I don't know if you're traveling out and who knows where, but that's when you're allowed to eat without washing your hands. So what's going on over here? That was just a parenthetical halachic statement. Now, I don't know if I want to make this confusing, but on an airplane, this is fascinating. Now, let's not go there. We'll do this afterwards. I don't want to get everyone confused. If you remind me after to tell you a nice shtickle terror that some of the people have about eating the bread on the airplane and whatnot. Fine. But Lamaisa, that's the halacha about washing your hands. Good. So what's going on over here? Rabbi, Rav Tzadok just argued with you. You can't argue in Rav Tzadok, especially not if he's in a Mishnah. What? Says Rashi. Let's learn Rashi. No loy b'mapa. Loy natal yadav. He didn't wash his hands. Ella, what did he do? Karach b'mapa. He wrapped in the handkerchief yadav, his hands, which, by the way, what did he wrap? Not the food, like I just did, which is another one of the myths. It said, nowhere does it say to wrap the food. It says to wrap your hands. So you're all wondering, what's the difference? It's true. It's just practically not to touch the food, but the halach is to wrap up your hands. Either way, mishum nikiyas, says Rashi. The reason he did this was for cleanliness purposes. Maybe it was, maybe there was a bad virus going around. Mishum Nikiyas. He didn't want to touch the bread for cleanliness reasons, not halachic reasons. So what's going on? So why didn't he what? Tikasavar pachais mekebeya let. Who's vibrating? Who's vibrating? Yeah, okay. No. I was making sure it wasn't me. It's okay. Tikasavar. One of the worst things. I use my phone to record shiurim, and if I forget to turn off the ringer, my own phone is busy screaming at me. It doesn't work out well. Tikasavar says the Gemara, Palchais mekebeya loy boy netilas yadayim. A chiddush. Less than a beya. If you're eating less than a beya worth of bread, you don't need to wash your hands. No one take this halach l'maisa yet. V'loy boy sukkah, and you don't need a sukkah. V'loy boy birchas hamazoin acharov, and you don't have to bench. Why? You eat and you're satiated and you bless. From here we learn that achila sheish basviya. When do you bench? If you eat the amount that is a satiation amount. Savia, it satiates. V'hainu kibeya, that's a beya. Avol lifanav, Rashi points out. But what about a bracha rishayna? What about hamaiti lechem min haaretz? Says Rashi, bekol dehu, with the slightest, one crumb. Yes, 1 crumb of bread. A lot of myths we're dispelling today. Ba'i bracha sheharei nen. The bracha rishayna is because you got benefit. Ve'aser lehanais min ha'olam hazeh beloi bracha. So now, truth is, it's all we're going to learn today is this Mishnah, but I'd like to speak out what Rashi just taught us. Rashi just taught us many dinim. Rashi said, why did Rav Tzadok eat the bread without washing his hands in a napkin and out of the sukkah, and he didn't bench? 4 dinim that Rav Tzadok did, and Rashi throws in a 5th din that it says he didn't make a bracha afterwards, means he made a bracha beforehand. So let's take it backwards. Why did he make a bracha beforehand? Because you're not allowed to get any benefit from this world without a bracha. So once you have one little bit, you have one little dot, one little anything, bracha rishayna. Okay, bracha rishayna, that's simple. Next, why did he wrap his hands in the towel? Nothing to do with washing your hands. Why? Cleanliness. His hands were dirty, he just finished changing a tire, and he didn't want to touch the bread. Okay, cleanliness reasons. No, he didn't wash.
We don't know if he washed.
We're going to get to it in a moment. Rashi says he didn't, but the reason he wiped up his hands in the mappa was not because he didn't want to wash, stam was because of nikis. Number 3 is l'maisa, he didn't wash. Why didn't he wash? Because he held you only wash on a kibeya's worth, and he didn't have a kibeya's worth. The same reason is also why he didn't bench and why he didn't eat in the sukkah. 3 reasons in one, because Rav Tzadok held you only need a sukkah. You only bench. I feel so bad. A year from Ma'ariv. Oh, we done Ma'ariv already. Oh yeah, I feel so sad. Okay, I'm sorry. You only bench. You only bench. You only wash your hands. And you only need a sukkah if you eat a kebeya's worth. So we learn 5 dinim from this Rashi, all from the story with Rav Tzadok. End of Mishnah, end of Rashi, end of Shir.
The first part of the Mishnah, like it's
very good. Good. So let's go back, and yes, that's going to be tomorrow. If you just peek into the Gemara is going to start. Maisa Listar. We just finished saying that you're allowed to eat achila sarai. We learned over here out of a sukkah. Starts off our Mishnah. Rav Yechon ben Zaki says, let's go up to the sukkah. Why are you going up to the sukkah? You're allowed to eat outside of the sukkah. But now you're pointing out, Rav Tzadok seemingly says what? Like we thought originally, that you're allowed to eat out of the sukkah. That's going to be the Gemara for tomorrow. We're going to stop over here. I just want to point out a fascinating halacha, which actually comes from this Rashi. It's a Bir Hagra that's quoted by the Mishnah Berurah. It's quoted by the Shar Tzion. We can leave the recording on. Whenever you eat challah, so we all know you have to eat a kezayis. Why do you have to eat a kezayis? Because that's the amount that we paskin that you bench on. However, says the Mishnah Berurah, you really need, that's the amount you need your bracha rishayna on, to wash your hands. Benching is not going to be such a problem because you're going to be filled up with other things, But says the Mishnah Berurah, you should eat a kibeya. Why should you eat a kibeya? You should eat of bread. Why? For washing your hands. because we are chayshish for this opinion, we are suspectful of this opinion that Rashi just quoted, that you might not have to wash your hands if you don't eat a kibeya. The Vilna Gaon held, if you don't eat a kibeya worth of bread, you've had to wash your hands, you don't make the bracha of al netilas yadayim. So says the Shartzian lechatchila, every time you're washing your hands, Friday night, anytime you're having bread, and you're about to going to make a asher yishad sos al netilas yadayim, and then you're going to make your amaitzi, then you're going to eat your challah. If you have only a kazayas worth of bread, okay, so your bracha rishayna is fine, and your bracha achrayna, your benching will be fine, because I hope during your meal you're going to eat enough to combine to get yourself full. But says the Mishnah Brura, your al netilas yadayim wasn't fine. Because this opinion holds this is a very, so you should make sure you have a kibeya's worth. Now, kibeya's worth is not so much, it's 2 kizesim, it's a little bit of a fatter piece of challah. This is important, people on diets and whatnot, it's a little bit whatever. It's, the people that take one bite, those people are whatever. But anyways, that's a fascinating halach that comes straight out of our Rashi, which is really Rav Tzaddik in our Mishnah, which is this din of a kibeya.